Good morning, Jenny. It's 6th of March now, and today, I want to say, actually, well, I wasn't today, it was yesterday, but I want to say that only a person possessed by a demon asked if they were possessed by a demon. Your video on Monday, you asked if you were possessed by a demon. Human wouldn't ask that because you'd know if there was another spirit in you, or soul, or body. So, you can remember a couple of episodes ago, I talked about Twitch-based Pokemon. Just went down here because there's laptops down here. I was on about how the lore is amazing, and I found the great holy book of Helix. I thought I'd read a page or two. The day Red was to start his Pokemon journey had arrived. His mother knew that he was leaving this day. She sensed something was off with him as well, though. She had been taught long ago that Red was destined for something greater than most other trainers. As he stumbled downstairs, she knew his trials had begun. Red, still disorientated, as Twitch, the medium, had connected with him, and he had formed a connection with the voices. He had a dream the previous night that the professor had met him, or even his grandson hadn't met him, or even his grandson, and had reintroduced the professor to them. He knew, or rather, the voices told him that today he was going to get his Pokemon from the professor. He had looked forward to this day, but now he merely obeyed the voices. He knew his mother seemed concerned with the erratic movements and nervousness about the content of his pockets, but he knew he had to believe in what the voices were telling him. Red stumbled out the door, led by the voices, and made his way to the Pokemon lab of Pallet Town. He spoke with the professor, and then the voices led him to a Pokeball on the table. It contained a Charmander. He took the Pokemon. The voices commanded him to name it A, 6Bs, K, close bracket, and call it Abby for short. Abby sensed a great power within Red and obeyed him. Blue, Red's childhood friend, was suddenly perceived by him as a rival, and they battled. Blue sent out his Squirtle, and Abby defended valiantly against it. After the battle, Red stumbled out of the lab, led by the voices, said goodbye to his mother, and set off on his quest the voices put him on. He promised that he would be taken to the Victory Road, and he, Red, chosen, would become champion, not become victory. Part 2, The Lost Days. Voices held back their bees and allowed Abby to evolve into a Charmeleon. There was much celebrating, and so the voices led Red to the gym of Puce City, and there Red did defeat the Leader Brock, and he received the Boulder Badge, the first badge and first step on his path to Victory Road. Then Red encountered a simple Pidgey, and voices commanded him to catch it. And there was great power in this Pidgey, and it glowed with a holy aura. Its wisdom could be felt by the voices, and they praised it, and so... the Pidgey grew strong, and Red was led by the voices into Mount Moon, where he found the Moonstone. After much wandering, and he consulted it at the voices' command, for they knew it held importance, and so Red consulted the Moonstone and was led to a scientist who held two fossils, the Dome and the Helix. They were... what? And Red, led by the voices, defeated the scientist who said Red could take one. The voices were puzzled for a bit, and they knew they were presence of a lord, for they felt the power of the Helix, but they could not recognise which fossil was truly their god. And Red was confused, not being guided by the voices for a moment, and so Red looked at the Dome fossil, and saw that it could help him control the voices. But he also looked at the Helix fossil and saw that it would help the voices lead him to Victory Road, and the voices led him towards the Helix fossil. Red chose the Helix fossil, understood now that he was to choose the Helix fossil. He resisted a moment, with the minority of the voices thinking maybe they were taking his mind, but the majority pushed him towards the Helix fossil, and so Red picked up the Helix fossil and recognised his lord, his god. And the voices were then split into two factions, those who wished to have the Dome, and those who worshipped the true god Helix. And Red, chosen of Helix, left Mount Moon and headed towards Cerulean City, where they saw a tomboyish mermaid lives. And Red, led by the voices, headed to Cerulean City. And along the way he caught a Rattata, who the voices named JLVWNN for Os, or JLNO for short. And Red questioned this first, but then learned to accept the voices' naming, since they are inspired by the Lord Helix. That's end of part 2, and end of the video, because I don't know how long it is. Hope that's not too long. Can't bother to edit.